off a couple of screens. Esquivel to Garcia. Off the deflection. Los Fresnos comes back and wins. Now Santa Maria will put up a three. Bang! Santa Maria! There's Warner. Here comes a headed jam. Counted for two. Field. Adios! And the Falcons win on a walk-off. And it's saved. What a game. Smack to the left. That is gone. Lob for Perez. That's my play. Off the backboard. Count it. And a win. And a win. Brian Perez wins the game for the Santa Rosa Warriors, and they go nuts. And why not?
This summer, settle in and reconnect with one another. South Padre Island has so many great places to stay. Condos, resorts, and hotels. Oh my! Book your summer getaway today. And start making memories poolside with the people you care about most. Visit SoPadre.com.
No matter where you are in life, Texas Southmost College is here to help you move forward. Whether you're starting fresh, changing careers, or gaining new skills, TSC has affordable programs designed to fit your goals. It's time to take the next step. Think big. Think bright. Think TSC.
Permatemp Personnel Services has been servicing local businesses for the past 29 years.
Leave the hiring to us. Let us become your personal hiring guru.
We have a network of skilled employees to fit your needs.
Your success is our strategy.
Don't hesitate, call us now.
At Tortilleria Ibañez, flavor starts fresh every day. Crispy flautas, homemade tamales, and our signature chicken salad, all made for you. Tortilleria Ibañez, tradition on every plate.
Hello sports fans, I'm Jason Starkey with Gallery Homes.
Here at Gallery, we make building your new home simple and stress-free. From sales to selections, we handle every step so you can enjoy the journey to your new home. This is Gallery, where your dreams become reality.
This summer, it's time to go outside and get some air. Explore a pirate ship. or go horseback riding on the beach. And you can't forget about all the fun on the bay. South Padre Island has so much to do for the whole family. Book your summer getaway today. Visit
So live once again here from the Luke Fruia show, Talking Sports with Luke Fruia. I'm Jacob Young. I have a special guest with me, and it's none other than Jamal Kobe Fayad. And well, Kobe, of course, so much to talk about. You've kind of turned this tide, this new chapter this summer, and it was with, of course, the RGV Red Crown. So if you want to, of course, talk about yourself and really how this all started, because again, it just felt like almost out of the blue. Oh, my bad. There you go.
Got it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, I was on a podcast recently. I was talking to Edson, and I know from the outside looking in, it looked like it was put together overnight. And strategically, that was somewhat of the case. It was a 3-year project from when we decided we were going to pursue this. But we also wanted to keep quiet because, I don't know, once we decided on Harlingen Field being our home, we just didn't want any interference.
Yeah.
And, you know, somebody's like, well, wait, if they're going to do something at Harlingen Field, maybe I want to host a concert there. We just didn't want any kind of hurdles. So we kept quiet about that. Yeah, I think, you know, I've mentioned it before. It took having a fan base like the Toros had, the passionate guys, the Stampede. It took folks like you, Edson, Ray. I knew there was people out there that loved the sport, that were passionate about the sport, and that was a huge reason on why we pursued this. I tell people about that trip to England. I went to go see Liverpool. The game gets canceled, and instead I went to go see lower division soccer, and seeing communities get together and the team being their identity, I'm like, there's no reason this can't happen in the Valley. And so that's kind of the origin story of it all, and what it ended up becoming. I can't be any more proud. And everyone that was involved, including yourself, I'm thankful for the little community we've built. And I think year 2, it's let's grow it. I think we've built a great foundation. Now let's show it to the rest of the Valley.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, because we all know, of course, we won't really get in touch really upon this, but we all know, of course, about the USL now pursuing Brownsville. And so that's, of course, just growing soccer in general will be big. And it's so funny of how, compared to the Red Crowns, compared to FC Brownsville, how different it kind of is. But that's, of course, kind of neither here nor there. But we get into it, of course. What I wanted to also talk about, the biggest thing is, yeah, of course, it starts up like this. How were you able to fill this type of team? Not necessarily the players, but the staff behind them as well, the people who get it going, because getting to be there and talk to them, it was something kind of special in the way of, well, we have a...
Started about 2 years ago as we had QR codes out just telling people we were thinking about doing something. We just wanted their feedback. And in doing so, when we were still the Rio Grande Valley Soccer Project, we met so many people that were just passionate. And, you know, you'd be surprised how many people were like, hey, I don't want to get paid. I just want to know how I can help. Or, hey, I love this project. How can I be a part of it? And so it really was just getting like-minded individuals, 1. 2, I think the Valley has incredible stories that for one reason or another don't necessarily get put on the spotlight. And that's something that we want to do with our platform. And so, I mean, you have a guy from Harlingen with a UEFA A license coaching in Germany. People should know about that. Mm-hmm. You have a head coach, our head coach, with a UEFA A license, studied in Wales, and he's coaching locally. I think people should know that. So getting people together wasn't the hard part. I feel like we do an injustice by not telling more stories of folks like that, because I don't think we've scratched the surface. The Valley, we've produced some amazing talent. We've produced some amazing stories, and I think it's our duty to let the rest of the world know that. And so getting the folks together wasn't the hard part. I feel like I have a responsibility in keeping them happy and nurtured. So that's kind of what my focus is. But yeah, I think, you know, people see what we're about on social media. They reach out to us, and it's honestly not hard to get in touch with me. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but they get in touch with me and they see what the ambition for this club is. And I think if you're a soccer purist, if you love the sport, like the traditions, the Red Crowns are for you. And I think people see that. They come to us, and we find ways to work together. I love when I get the message like, how can I help? Well, I always ask them, like, what are you passionate about? Like, when you tell me you love soccer, what about soccer do you love? Like, I can tell somebody I love soccer. I don't care for the X's and O's. I love badges. I love jerseys. I love in-game experiences. So when people come to us, we try to find what is it about the sport that you love, or that what influenced you enough to reach out to us, and then we can find a spot for you. Even if it doesn't exist yet, we'll find a spot for you.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Because, I mean, that's how it felt from the get-go. I mean, Edson, we talked a little bit about him. He reaches out to me kind of as well from when you reached out to him, and how that deal kind of came about. That was so special as well, of being a part of something that's going to grow and grow and grow. And, of course, one of the big things was growing it also, of course, starts from down here. And how were you able to just what was, if you can say much about that scouting process for the first year, trying to get those players? Of course, it seemed really late into the year, like you said, you wanted to stay as quiet as possible. But getting those players and getting the first signing happened to be from a player from down here, but had college-level experience from up north.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will not take any credit for that at all. That was our coaching staff. That was Coach Arez and Coach Reina talking to these guys and recruiting them. I think, you know, the way we abruptly showed up, the Toros also abruptly ended. And not to, like, put a downer on things, but I think for a lot of people, the Toros were going to be that next step. And I think, and maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but I think for a lot of our players, the Toros was going to be that next step. And so imagine you're working your entire, you know, soccer playing career to reach that goal, and then overnight the goal's gone. Mm-hmm. So I think we were lucky in that we had a really good pool of players that would have most likely been playing for the Toros that we could have reached out to. But that was Coach Arez kind of doing the dirty work and getting guys together. I think we did a really good job of creating that foundation so that now the guys who were in their shoes last year know that they have an outlet now. And they're seeing, you know, year one, we didn't have any proof of concept, any success stories. Now we have 3 success stories. We have a proof of concept. So I think it's going to be even easier to get these players in a Red Crowns uniform next year.
Of course, and with that also comes, with the pros, also comes the cons. And what I mean by that is, well, you talked about having those success stories, getting those players to that next level as well, like Vicente Alvarez to Lundin to even, of course, the man himself, Zach Hargreaves. But with that next step, with the players being gone, would you expect to expand your roster just to make sure that just in case those players do leave, you have enough talent on the bench to really kind of fill that back up?
Yeah. You know, the year one was a lot of growing pains for us. I think more than anything, it's just having plan B, plan C, plan D, just in case plan A can't make it for whatever reason. So, you know, if you had to ask me to do it all over again, I would. If losing, you know, Zach and Corey and Vicente meant that we missed out on the playoffs, well, that's on me. I'll take that accountability, because our team shouldn't be dependent on 1 or 2 or 3 players. So we learned from that. So next year, when we do build our team out, we're going to be prepared for situations like that. But we're also going to set a precedent for those guys. Like, hey, give us these 6 weeks. And then after that, we're going to do our best to get you out of here into these pro contracts. I think year one was a lot of rolling with the punches. If we were to do that year 2, then, you know, that's us not being accountable. But I think we've learned from it, and we know how to prepare for that come year 2.
Of course, yeah. Of course, it was really cool to also see the growth of this club. Unfortunately, of course, we didn't have as many home games as we would have liked, and we all know. Of course, I've talked about it on this show of how, well, teams decided not to play us because they were a little afraid or did not necessarily want to travel down to the valley from Dallas, which in a way I don't blame them because I don't want to go up there that often either. But with even that, there was still a lot of growth. What can you say about just from that year one, making that type of impact? Because the first crowd of the game, it seemed like there was over maybe 3,000 people potentially, or I don't know how much that place sat, but it seemed like a good amount for something that no one truly knew of about a month before that.
Yeah, I think I didn't get to talk to the team about this, but I did talk to our coaching staff about this, and I said yes. We didn't get to play those 2 home games, and that's unfortunate. We loved our home games. That's when we got everyone together. It was a celebration of the RGV. It's kind of, what you feel now with these UTRGV games. I think they're doing a good job of celebrating just home, and that's what we try to use every home game for. Let's just celebrate home. Let's make it feel as much as like a backyard hangout as possible with really good soccer happening at the same time. But I told our coaching staff, yes, we're not playing these 2 games. Yes, it's unfortunate, but that's a win. Because if we were as lousy that I think a lot of these teams thought we were going to be, they would have came down. They would have came down. They would have played us, and they didn't come for a reason. Because I'm not going to say any names, I guess, but there was a team that has a really good track record, and I think they didn't want to come down and lose 3-4-0 to the Red Crowns. And so I told our staff, that's something you guys did. You literally instilled fear in these guys that they didn't want to come down. And you're right. We don't want to go 7 hours up, 9 hours up to Dallas, but we did it. And we played at the time the 9th ranked semi-pro club in the country, and we beat them. So I think that shows that we were confident. We knew we built something special. And the fact that those teams didn't come down here, I think that says more about us than it says about them. So hopefully next year, we've talked to the league. We've guaranteed our home games, so we'll have all of our home games guaranteed. The conference is going to look a little bit different. You'll see that as well. But you'll also notice that it was our year one. It was also the League for Clubs year one. So they had some growing pains that we've had long discussions about. That you'll see a difference come year 2. And I think the semi-pro landscape, I think there's going to be some changes that the fans will notice in the next couple months. But I think the League for Clubs looks like it's in a good position, which is great for us. So I'm excited to see what our competition looks like come next season.
Yeah, and you, of course, noted perfectly on it. It's kind of the reason of why you joined that League for Clubs is what it seems like. And it, of course, on that competition note, it's the same level as kind of the USL League 2 in a way, I guess, because they're both semi-pro places. And so why not that? Why not the USL League 2 where it's more established or anything like that?
Yeah, so I don't want to paint a bad picture for anybody. I think USL 2 had a really strong conference already and an even conference. So you have about 4 clubs from Houston, I want to say. You had Laredo and you had Corpus. That was an even 6. So if we came at number 7, it would have kind of thrown things off. That was one reason. I think the other reason is that, just candidly speaking, USL 2 is very expensive for semi-pro. The League for Clubs is a little bit more affordable for us. But not only that, it's their ambition. And their ambition is to grow Texas itself into so many teams. And they want to split Texas into 2 conferences, North Texas and South Texas. And that's where we were sold, because if you're telling me that my furthest trip would be Houston or San Antonio, then that makes travel easier on us. That makes the expense on travel easier on us. And so one thing about this level of soccer, it's we don't try to survive this year. We plan to survive next year. So financially, and I mean that financially. So whenever we're getting our sponsors together, we're selling tickets, we're doing everything for next year. And so the travel for the League for Clubs put us in a good position for next year. And again, you'll see some growth here with the Leaford clubs that'll lessen the travel for us, the travel burden. But I think USL2 is in a very good spot. I think it's very healthy. So I would never say don't ever count on seeing us in USL2. I could say the same about League for Clubs. Don't ever count us not being. I think the League for Clubs is the better option, but that could always change.
Of course, yeah. One thing that I'm, of course, curious of, you talk about getting the White Wings old home, the Harlingen Field, and had a lot of history with it. And it's honestly, for a starter place in general, for a starter field, feels like it's fantastic. But that's, of course, on paper. In reality, yes, everything, the amenities were really well done, but of course, still talking to the players, the field.
Yeah.
What is it going to be, or do you expect an improvement in that field for the next year?
Yes. Yeah. So I guess let me start from the beginning. When we cleaned out the diamond, or what was left of a diamond, we cleared out, and there's some footage somewhere. I know Channel 4 did a story on us where you saw them, clearing out the grass. So we put new sod. I didn't realize how much science went into grass itself, but it's very scientific. And unfortunately, the sod didn't grow out the way we were promised. So instead of scrapping everything and not having grass to even play on, we decided to just deal with it year one. But year two, we're looking to resod. So you should notice a significant difference with the grass. Just being, again, totally transparent, we don't own that field, so anything we do, we have to get approval first. Okay. So it's still, Harlingen Field is still owned by the city. It's still municipal property. So while I can tell you we've set aside some kind of cash flow for it, we need to get the okay from them first. And from my understanding, I believe the city saw the value in fixing the grass, not just for our events, but some of their events as well. So I think it'll be a collaborative effort in fixing that grass, but it's definitely something that we've budgeted, we've planned for. We've already gotten quotes from other people to give our players, I would say, as close as to pristine playing grass that you can get. But it's definitely high up on our agenda for this coming season.
Of course, and, well, your team as well is named the RGV Red Crowns, and I thought that this was such a cool story when you told it to me as well. I don't know if you want to say why the team is named the RGV Red Crowns, because, I mean, we all know that there's so much that goes into it. Trying to find a name, it's one of the toughest things that I can even think of as well. And so, no, the nickname, of course, is so cool, and the story behind it is just, I mean, even better.
Yeah, so we started with the survey. I'll try to make this as not as long-winded as possible, but the biggest takeaway from the survey was that people like birds down here. So we started toying with the idea of what would a bird look like. Now, Harlingen, you have the Bird Bowl, so you have the Hawks, you have the Cardinals, the Academy, I believe they're the Ravens. So, and then you have eagles, you have golden eagles, you have, gavilanes and matamoros. Birds are accounted for here. So the tricky part was, how do we come up with something unique? How do we come up with something that's identifiable to the RGV? And how do we just stand out? So then we talked to some bird experts, and we got a list of birds that are unique to the Rio Grande Valley. One of them, and I'll be honest with you, I kind of toyed with the idea, was the chachalacas, but that might have been a mouthful for a lot of people. The other bird we were really close with, and I would say it was a neck and neck race, but it was the kingfisher. And the kingfisher, they're a small but mighty bird, and they're really cool. You find them all here throughout the island and by rasacas and stuff like that. And they just dive in and they spear whatever fish they're looking for and eat it. And anyway, I just thought it was cool. You know, we have a big fishing population here. We have a big birding community here. So I felt like it ticked off a lot of the things we were looking for. However, if you Google Kingfisher, it's the largest beer in India, in the country India. So we would never own that Google search, right? So we were, long story short, when we were toying with it, we started looking around, and it's like, I always called them the green parrots or the Mexican parrot. It's like, you see them all over the place. And then we started doing research, and it was just light bulb after light bulb after light bulb. Like, so much of this bird represents us. And first and foremost, it's a bird from Mexico. They came to the valley, and they thrived in the valley. And that's a lot like us, right? Like, a lot of people just, this is our home. This is where we feel comfortable. This is where we thrive. We thrive with our family. The bird travels as a flock. They thrive as a flock. It's like us. When we're near our people, near our family, we thrive. We do amazing things. They're loud, they're vibrant, they're colorful. And it's just, it reminded me so much of our community down here in the Rio Grande Valley. The colors and just them being a playful, fun bird. It all just made sense. And it was a no-brainer once the Red Crown name came up. And we're unique. There's not another red crown out there. It's something unique to the valley. It's something that people come from all over the world to come see, and they come see the red crown parrot. We've sold merch to people in California, Maine, and we even had some international merch buyers. One of them was just a bird watcher who thought it was really cool that we were the red crowns. It's his favorite bird. And I think it's a really cool name. It's really unique, and it's something that I couldn't think of another symbol for the Rio Grande Valley, and I'm really proud of what our team came up with.
Of course, yeah, and you brought up, of course, that international thing, and well, it's so cool that we do have international buyers for anything like that. And one thing as well is, well, a couple of things I guess from that is that you've made some international friends and partners, to be exact, overseas. And I guess take us through that first one, because all of a sudden, yes, the team needs, of course, a practice jersey, and they need someone to sponsor it. And so one big story is the team from Wrexham, or the podcast from Wrexham, I should say, that covers the team in Wrexham, Wrexham AFC. They decided to. And yeah. I mean, I think that was a pretty cool story.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, when I went to go see lower league football, one of those teams was Wrexham, and I'll never forget, it was Wrexham versus Southend. And as amazing as Wrexham's support was, it was a home game at the turf. The traveling fans from Southend were as equally as impressive. And this was, if you watch season 1, I think it's like episode 6 or 7, it was the Blizzard match. And that was a match that I went to. And it was the worst conditions imaginable, but everyone showed up. And the more I traveled around Wrexham, I saw so many parallels to the Valley. And what I mean by that is, you would meet a stranger and they would invite you over for dinner, or they would invite you for a drink. And it's something like the Valley, right? Like the Valley, you could have a flat tire, somebody's going to stop and help you out. And so, you know, you really got that southern hospitality in Wrexham. And so anyway, my time there, I met with a bunch of other soccer fans and football fans. And so we just kept a really good relationship, me and Nate from the Rob, Ryan, and Red podcast. And I was telling them, like, the story of Wrexham is very similar to what we saw with the Toros. Unfortunately, we didn't have a Ryan Reynolds to save us from dissolving, and our story was the sad end. You have the Disney ending, literally the Disney ending with Wrexham, and then you have the, you know, unfortunate ending with the Toros. And, you know, a lot of their story inspired our story. So, like, Wrexham play in the race course. That was for years a horse racetrack. Well, we play at a baseball field. For years was a baseball field. It's a team that was saved by the community. I'd like to think if it wasn't for our community, we wouldn't have the Red Crowns. So there was just a lot of parallels, and I was telling Nate about this, and I was telling him how stressful it is with practice stuff and paying for everything and just sponsorships. And so, you know, he kind of toyed on the idea of, like, what about Rob, Ryan, Red? And I was like, man, that's actually a really good idea. You guys have a platform, one, you have a fan base, two. And so it's kind of like I tell people down here, we don't want to be your favorite team. We just want to be your local team. Well, something I'm pleading with the Rob Ryan Red listeners is we don't have to be your favorite team. We just want to be your summer team when the Premier or when European football is in its off season. So it's been fun. Those guys have been great. They've been keeping up with us. One thing that we never really got to promote, our goalkeeper, Jack, he was on season 1 of Welcome to Wrexham. He was their goalkeeper before the takeover. So story.
Yeah, 100%. And then, of course, you guys kind of were a little secretive of this as well. But, of course, I kind of knew a little bit more from it because I would say anyways, it was my cousin. But it was so cool. He ends up going overseas for a course, and you were able to kind of help out trying to get a partner as well, a partner club overseas, and their name happened to be Bury FC, which, learning about them, it's one of the craziest stories I think that a football team, a soccer team can have, which is going into, I guess, just basically folding and then all of a sudden coming into that next side. So, I mean, I guess if you can kind of take us through how that all came about, because it felt like it wasn't going to be them, but it was going to be someone like them, but it ended up being Barry.
Yeah, so Leo, big fan of Leo, goes overseas, and I was telling Leo that we were working on something all via Instagram, Twitter, where we were talking to other lower league clubs about our project, because something you'll see in England or just across Europe is a lot of these clubs started as a community effort or as a fan effort. And so I told Leo, like, hey, here's a little side quest for you if you get some time, but go look at these lower league football clubs and see if there's somebody that reminds you of home or reminds you of the Red Crowns, and we can build some kind of partnership. Because I feel like part of our responsibility is just telling stories about soccer. I think in the U.S. it's so transactional, and it's a real estate play at some times, and it's how can I make money. And some of the most successful clubs in Europe, it was just built organically by the fans, and so that's what we wanted to let people know. So we built a partnership with Bury FC, and club dissolved, fans got together, or I'm sorry, they were Bury AFC or they were something else. Fans got together, built a club from the ground up, which is now Bury FC, and they're our official overseas partner. So we've been kind of quiet just to respect them, but we're hoping to do more collaborative efforts in the years to follow, and ideally, and I'm getting way ahead of myself. This is not something we've talked about with them, but I would love to have some kind of partnership where our players go there, we get some of their guys, and we can kind of go back and forth as like a non-transactional, just give exposure to our guys during the off season, and vice versa. If they have some guys that want to get some summer workouts in, come play with us for 2 months and then go back to the UK. But I think we could build a really cool partnership and then even grow it from there, where we go, a partner in Spain, a partner in Germany, and just kind of build the game that way.
Of course. And yeah, I guess kind of like wrapping up with this, I want to get, of course, because this team had a fantastic season in the grand scheme of things. Yes, of course, some may say the success is you have to make the playoffs every single year. But in reality, this felt like, at least from my perspective, this felt like a success in its own self.
Yeah.
Because, this club is coming back for 2026, so that's already big. And, I guess, really, what were your most memorable moments from this past season, especially on the field?
On the field, our first goal ever, Vicente's goal, I'll never forget. So our first home game, it's the first sporting event in Harlingen Field in over a decade, I think, where we had, paid tickets and fans and all that. Well, just to prove that whenever something can go wrong, it will. As soon as we opened up the gates, I'll never forget this, we pressed play for the music to start for fans, and the entire power just went out. This was as soon as we opened the gates. So people trying to come through ticketing, trying to play music, trying to sell concessions. Nothing was working. And it just felt like as soon as that happened, we were playing catch up. So I tell that story because I'm like freaking out, I'm stressing out, I'm having panic attacks. And finally, as the night goes on, it's close to the 70th minute, we catch up. We catch up with the ticketing issue, the electrical issue, and we finally fixed everything that needs to be fixed. And for just 5 minutes, I had time to watch. And I didn't really, this whole season, I didn't have 5 minutes to just sit and watch. And for 5 minutes, I'm there behind goal, just watching what we've built, seeing the community, seeing fans get into it, cheering, chants already. One chant was, I won't forget, some of the fans started chanting liquor license because our liquor license wasn't approved until game 2. So that was really funny. But I'll just never forget, in those 5 minutes, ball gets stolen, pass to Vicente. Vicente puts in the back of the net. And just seeing everyone go crazy. And it really felt like the soccer gods were just, for those 5 minutes, smiling upon me. And they were just like, enjoy this. Like, enjoy this. Enjoy what you all have created, what you all have built. Because that goal could have happened at any time. But it happened in just those 5 minutes where I was right there, front row seat to see everything. That's one thing I'll never forget. The other thing that really sticks out, and don't get me wrong, there's memorable moments for every single game. But another thing that I'll never forget was playing Austin United. It was the last game of the season. We're playing in Austin. We had more fans than they did. And we had fans traveling from the Valley. We had fans living in Austin from the Valley who came out to support us. And I think that just shows how strong, and this isn't even a Red Crowns thing, this just shows how much, when the Valley gets together, we support. And we support strong, we support hard, whatever adjective you want to put there or verb, we support. And so it was just beautiful to see the Valley get together and support a team in the outskirts of Austin. And unfortunately, we lost that match, and that kind of took us out of the playoffs. But for me, that's the springboard we're going to use for next season. And it was just beautiful to see all those people come together to watch, again, semi-pro ball. We were like, I don't want to say a band of misfits, but just a bunch of local kids giving it their all just for the badge. And it was really beautiful to see. And it was a nice reminder on why we started this whole project to begin with. So those are probably my two biggest. But again, any game you go down the list, I can give you a memorable moment. It was a fun season. I don't know if it's because it's semi-pro ball or what, but it was really fun to witness in real time.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, mine have to be Vicente Alvarez's goal, because I've been covering this kid since he was literally a kid.
Yeah.
16, and
I'll never. So, not to put you on the spot, but Edson told me a little secret that whenever we announced Vicente as our first signing, that I guess he got a phone call from you or a text, and was like, "Oh crap, like Vicente ? And so he said you were pretty excited when we announced Vicente.
Oh yeah. I've been keeping up with him again when he went to college for those 2 years in St. Edwards. I didn't necessarily know how well he was doing because, well, once again, sometimes college soccer, especially in D2, you're not going to find a game that often. So didn't necessarily know, but yeah, it was great. And then just, again, it's been so impressive. You're hiring the coaching staff, you're hiring the scouts, everybody. And the signings were just, I go back to it. Impressive. Like, you were there to not only win, yes, because, you can talk a little bit about it, that philosophy. What was that philosophy like for especially the players?
So are you saying as far as like the local guys or just in general?
Just in general, like what were you all after? Because like, for example, for TSC, they specifically said, we're only going for local players down here. And of course, when you see other colleges go for yes.
Yeah, so our philosophy was local first. Local was priority. But realistically, you need some outside flair, experience. So we committed to a 90-10 rule. 90 local, 10% out of town or even out of country. But we didn't want to sign some. They brought in professional experience. And so their responsibility was show these guys what this level of soccer means but show them what it's like to be a professional. Because yes, show up to practice every day. Yes, give it your all on game day. But when you're not practicing, when nobody's looking, that's where it's important. How to eat right, how to train right. One thing we provided for our players, and maybe we actually, now that I'm thinking about this out loud, we should have promoted this or promoted it much stronger. Every player got a free membership to Gold's Gym. Nothing for them, no deposit, nothing. Gold's Gym in Harlingen sponsored our athletes so that every single player on the Red Crowns got a free gym membership. Why is that important? Well, I take Zach and Corey. I'll never forget. I go there personally just to get a run in, and I see those guys doing drills inside of the racquetball court, just on their own. And then it takes discipline. Our whole mindset was, again, get these guys opportunities and show the rest of the world what the Valley has to offer. But I think they needed help to know what a professional club looks like. Yes, our coaches know that, but I mean, how many times do people actually listen to their teachers or listen to their coaches? So it took we really wanted those international guys to kind of be the unofficial leaders, I guess. So that was a philosophy, 90-10, but 10 we weren't going to sign you just because you were good on the pitch. You had to bring something to the table. And I think I all the guys that came from out of town, if I had to do it again, I would bring each one of them in. They provided something. They were great out of the field. My biggest regret, to be honest with you, was just not doing more with them. But it was just such a chaotic year, just kind of catching up with everything. But I think next year, look for more camps, look for more activations with other local clubs, youth clubs. That's one thing that they really want, and that's something that we're going to put an emphasis on this coming season.
Of course, and yeah, also this team, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Kobe, are still undefeated on PKs during a game, or during the season. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, Zach Hargrave's perfect, and then even in that friendly, we're perfect from PKs, which was insane.
Yeah, no, that friendly was fun, and then just to have the fireworks to close out the night, it was just the perfect ending. Ideally, we would have had a more competitive match as far as it meaning something, but to play FC Dallas again and to win again and to just cap it off with the fireworks, and it was a fun match. We had some guys that we brought in as a trial for next year. Honestly, I think there's about 2 or 3 guys that won themselves a spot on the Red Crowns next year just from that game. So it was a great cap to the season.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess, wrapping it up, any final thoughts for this year, maybe for, of course, just hyping up this team? Or
No, I think thank you for having me first and foremost. Thank you to everybody that covers the Red Crowns. Without this, we're nothing. Again, we start at the community, and so the community is we're going to go as far as the community takes us. As far as announcements, just follow the socials. We've been hosting our watch parties. So every week, almost every weekend, every other weekend, we host a watch party at a local business, and we just try to watch Premier League football together. You come, we're not selling anything. We provide a free coffee at whichever coffee shop we're at. So enjoy a free coffee and just talk soccer. We don't want people to feel obligated to buy anything, so you won't see a merch table. You won't see us promoting season tickets. That's not what this is about. This is getting people together, talking soccer, and just building a community. So be on the lookout. We haven't announced it yet. It should be announced in the next hour or so. But we're hosting Liverpool Man U on the 18th at Nerve Coffee McAllen. And that one I'm excited about because McAllen has been knocking, asking when are we going to do this over there. We did our first couple in Brownsville. We've done one in Los Fresnos, and it looks like McAllen is next. So I'm anticipating a good turnout. The game itself, it's a fun game, right? Man U and Liverpool. Whether it's Red Crowns, it's up to you. And yeah, we're already recruiting for next year. From what we saw year one, I think you can expect an even stronger year too, not just from us, but also from the league. From what I've heard, there's a team or two joining our conference that have a really strong history. You're talking national champions at this level. So the competition is only going to get better, stronger, and we're looking forward to it. Our goal is one, playoffs, go far in the playoffs, but we're also looking to build that foundation so that we're competing in the Open Cup. So Open Cup is really the big goal for next season. So your support means everything to us. So if you can, follow us. Once we start selling season tickets and merch, any way you can support, we really appreciate it.
Of course. Well, thank you very much, Kobe,
Yeah,
for
thank
coming
you.
on. Of course, crazy 2 weeks for you, I'm sure. And hopefully, of course, things either calm down or maybe it's great to be a little chaotic for yourself.
Yeah, we'll see. But thanks for having me. And anytime we can jump on, let us know. We'd be more than happy to come out here.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
Cool deal.
All right, we'll be right back after this. Stay tuned.
This summer, settle in and reconnect with one another. South Padre Island has so many great places to stay. Condos, resorts, and hotels. Oh my! Book your summer getaway today. And start making memories poolside with the people you care about most. Visit SoPadre.com.
No matter where you are in life, Texas Southmost College is here to help you move forward. Whether you're starting fresh, changing careers, or gaining new skills, TSC has affordable programs designed to fit your goals. It's time to take the next step. Think big. Think bright. Think TSC.
Permatemp Personnel Services has been servicing local businesses for the past 29 years.
Leave the hiring to us. Let us become your personal hiring guru.
We have a network of skilled employees to fit your needs. Your success is our strategy.
Don't hesitate. Call us now.
Elevation, AT4, AT4X, Denali. Case closed. Fruia GMC, we're professional grade.
At Tortilleria Ibañez, flavor starts fresh every day. Crispy flautas, homemade tamales, and our signature chicken salad, all made for you. Tortilleria Ibañez, tradition on every plate.
Hello, sports fans. I'm Jason Starkey with Gallery Homes.
Here at Gallery, we make building your new home simple and stress-free. From sales to selections, We handle every step so you can enjoy the journey to your new home. This is Gallery, where your dreams become reality.
Back live we go once again to hear. Big thank you once again to the RGV Red Crowns, and again, Kobe Fayad for allowing us to have this, allowing for us to be able to have him on. It was a great show. I've been very happy. Welcome back to, of course, Luke Fruia, Buick GMC and Cadillac. If you're in the market for a new car, check out Luke Fruia, Buick GMC and Cadillac here off of Price Road, Old Alice Road, I believe. Either way, exciting, of course, stuff. We'll run you down very quickly as we're getting close to the end of this show already, which is perfectly fine because we got to learn a lot. We got to learn a lot, of course, about this team, but it's very exciting for this week and what we have in store for you all for these, for the games, I should say, for football. And it's going to be fun. Tomorrow is, of course, a 4.1 game along with Valley Central, and we have one more, I believe, after that this week. Broadcast times are, of course, will be at after that. At the same time, we'll also have McAllen Rowe taking on none other than Rio Grande City. That's at McAllen Veterans Memorial Stadium. And then, not to mention, we also have two more games this upcoming Thursday. PSJ at PSJ Stadium, to be exact, is PSJ versus Edinburgh High School. Should be a great one. And Port Isabel versus none other than St. Joseph Academy. That should be very fun indeed. Friday on 10/10. We have none other than the football broadcast on Valley Central, as well as, of course, on RSL, which will be on RSL 1, is none other than EdCal Chelsea taking on Mercedes. Then after that, back at Sam Stadium, still at broadcast time of 6:30, you have none other than Brownsville Hannah taking on San Benito. Should be an interesting one there. That's, of course, the first district game of their season. And then Brownsville Hannah, none other. Well, then, of course, after that, a broadcast time that starts at 7 p.m. at McAllen Veterans Memorial Stadium. Somehow, some way, Rio Sports Live Network will be right there to cover McAllen Memorial taking on Mac High. That is going to be the blockbuster game of the weekend that Rio Sports Live Network covers in mind for that Friday. And the reason, of course, being, well, pretty simple indeed. It should be a great one. Though, Mission Veterans Memorial at, of course, Tom Landry Stadium, to be exact, will be playing against Sherryland High School. That game time will be at 7 p.m. Broadcast time apparently at 6:30. We will actually double check that for you all because sometimes those games are at 7:30. So we'll give you all that exact information really quickly here. For Mission Veterans Memorial Football, they will be playing at 7 p.m. That is at none other than Tom Landry Stadium. So that will be very exciting. At least it's what our schedule says. We, of course, at 6:30. Then, as well, the final one, Raymondville taking on none other than Lyford. That will be a fun game right there. Broadcast time 6:30. And actually, the last one will be Marine Military Academy taking on Agua Dulce. That should be an interesting matchup right off the bat. Then you have volleyball on none other than Saturday. Mission Veterans Memorial taking on Laredo Nixon. We have Brownsville Vets taking on Harlingen High School. And then McAllen Memorial, check that, McAllen High and Pioneer High School. That will be on none other than Saturday, 12 noon. Should be an exciting one. And then on Saturday as well, Edinburgh North taking on Edinburgh Economides. That will be fun. All will be on the Mission, BIC, and Cherryland channel, as well as potentially RSL 1, although the last one does not say, but I would have to guess it would be on RSL 1. So a lot of stuff to get ready there for this weekend. Tomorrow, of course, like we mentioned, I will be at Sam's Memorial Stadium for that football game. Bring you all coverage of that one. Should be a great one. And this whole entire weekend, as district play will be starting officially for every single team, whether or not they're already underway. And, of course, that is week number 7 to kick off tomorrow. I've been Jacob Young. This has been a Rio